morning, and thank you very much for joining us. I am Yori Folarin. Today, my guests, which will give you some inkling into, what's going to be the subject of our conversation this morning, are from the Lagos State Safety Commission. In fact, let me start out by introducing Funto Aino, Chief Scientific Officer of the Lagos State Safety Commission. Mrs. Aino is also the head of food safety at the Lagos State Safety Commission. Thank you very much for coming on.
Thank you, sir.
My pleasure. And Adeyinka Adebi, Mr. Adebi is Director, Safety and Training, no, I beg your pardon, Safety Training and Education, Lagos State Safety Commission.
It's my pleasure to be here.
Thank you very much for coming on. Well, I can see that all you guys, are just, I don't know, it shows that you guys are on active duty. It reminds me of DEA when you see some films, that kind of thing. So you guys are on duty. Thank you for taking time off to come check us out. Now, I want to look at safety in Lagos. I have one or two matters in mind. This week, at a gas company, there was a fire. And that's always going to be a hazard. Anyway, we know that. Everybody knows. It's common sense. No smoking, no this, careful around gas and all of that. That's the one side. But perhaps I should start with the umbrella question. And I really don't know who to address it to. Okay, I'm going to take the guy this time. So what exactly is the Lagos State Safety Commission about? What aspect of safety?
Yeah, thank you very much. First and foremost, we'll look at what is the vision of Lagos State Safety Commission. When it was established, the vision is to proactively make safety a lifestyle in Lagos State. That is the vision. However, safety is divided into two, public safety and occupational safety. So both public safety and occupational safety are chiefly our job. So those two areas are the areas that we deal with. Public safety and occupational safety. That
just about covers everyone. Funto, it covers just about everyone in between public safety, which I imagine, even though homes are private, but that's going to be part of public safety, I imagine, as well. And would you like to add to that?
Yes, thank you. Public safety, just like you said, encompasses safety broadly. Let me begin with that. Safety cuts across all spheres of life.
Okay.
So, looking at the vision of the commission, as Mr. Debi has said, public safety and occupational safety. Occupational safety will look at safety at the workplace.
In the workplace. Mm.
The workplace cuts across all but two.
Because there are regulations about that.
Sector,
there are actually official regulations about requirements
at workplaces.
At workplaces.
Yes, the Factory Acts and the OSHA and the rest of it. Then public safety, just like you said, looking at home safety, traffic safety.
Okay.
Maybe excursion, if people are going on excursion, you have to consider the safety of those that are involved.
Okay, okay.
Also.
Well, thank you, because, I think this really, I needed to start like that so that I could understand how far we might be able to go. Now, going back to the gas company that had the unfortunate fire, which, thank God, was put out, but the details are still sketchy, some casualties, maybe some fatalities, all of that is still in there. Now, I want to ask the question, there are many, many aspects of business where people are actually dealing in hazardous materials. Gas would be one. Gas is so commonplace. Every person uses cooking gas. Well, you know what I mean when I say every person. You know what I mean. It's become ubiquitous.
Yes.
And but it is a hazardous material. There are constant warnings about how to handle it in the home. I imagine there will be more stringent warnings at businesses that deal with it. But I want to challenge you guys by saying that I doubt if the Lagos State Safety Commission concerns itself with all these little retailers of gas that stack cylinders full of gas in front of their shop. We are in the tropics. We can get as high as what?
40 degrees.
How much?
40.
There you go, as high as that. Now, that's not an ideal condition for storing gas if you're, but one can understand it if all you have just is a shop in Agege or Ajegunle or Surulere or somewhere, just a shop. I imagine you won't have the wherewithal to be able to store gas safely. Now, we sort of take this for granted, but unfortunately, the worst went and happened earlier this week. Do you have a role in regulating? Because I haven't heard yet that, oh, somebody tried this business, opened it up, and was shut down by the Lagos State Safety Commission because they said this, and this had not been met.
Yeah, unfortunately, the one that happened, a few days ago is an unfortunate situation.
Yes.
And we are still investigating. Of course, we need to investigate and see the root cause of, that, incident. Afterwards, we will now, let the whole world knows what actually, happened.
In relation to that particular incident.
Yes.
But in general,
you see, the Lagos State Safety Commission, we are aware of, peddlers of this, gas in shops and, retailers, and we have warned severally that it is not ideal to have, gas, to be going about, giving, selling, butane gas or cooking gas all around in the environment. It's very dangerous because, number one, if you do this, you don't know who is next that is cooking, who next is burning, refuse and all of that. These are very, dangerous situations where you can sell. So you cannot sell, cooking gas all around homes. It's not. So we are all out now. Of course, our regulation is still on. We still at the tail end of completing the regulations. However, we are all out to ensure that nobody sells or sells cooking gas in around living environments. So we are doing that.
Okay. Would it be fair to then say that, well, the Lagos State Safety Commission appears to be reacting to events as opposed to being proactive?
No. Let me give an example.
Because there's a sense in which you can see this little shop that I have just set up here at Wasimi Street in Isaleodo, that kind of a thing. It's a workplace. It's a workplace.
Let me give you an example. There was a petition. There's a particular gas plant. Around here, Isheri here. There was a
that's in southwest of the country where we're broadcasting from. Just to put it in perspective.
There was, a whistleblower.
Yes.
And he told us, we went there. What we did was to seal it up. That where are the papers to even tell you that this place is even safe to dispense gas? So these are the things we're talking about. You see, because it's a volatile, product, and of course, at the spark of, so there's fire. So we want to make sure that before you can even say you want to establish a gas plant anywhere in Lagos State, you must ensure that it is not within the residential areas, and two, you must ensure that all safety,
regulations are adhered to.
I put in place.
Now, I understand it. Funta, I understand it when it says gas plants. I understand that. And I would be surprised if it wasn't like that. But how about all these little retailers? Because people are getting innovative. I saw one poster or a flyer somewhere, gas on wheels, colors will come. People are devising all sorts of little marwa, keke marwas to, put a little mini tank on, all of which is fine and innovative as long as it is safe.
Yeah.
I understand about if you want to establish a gas plant, there are so many things that you have to make the Safety Commission happy about. But how about those retailers, the little Namdis and the little, who are entrepreneurs? Yes. Because people do anything for money. Those guys seem to be doing whatever they want. Just get the business papers, register your company, find a shop to hire, stack, cylinders of gas in front of your house, in front of your shop, and that's it.
Yes, thank you. We've observed that before now, And sometime in 2014, because if I go down memory lane, Lagos State Safety Commission came on board 2011. And we have been doing enough of sensitization here and there. But sensitization advocacy can never be enough. Can never be enough. Because people come in, influx of people into Lagos
You're
every
sensitizing,
day. Yes.
No sanctions. They know that they will just come and preach to us, just let's establish it.
Yes. Because Lagos State government, they are people friendly. We don't want a situation whereby we come on board and then the people are not really happy. They have not really told us. They just come in to sanction. So we don't want to use that style. We want to use the carrot and then the stick.
I hear you. But God forbid, God forbid bad things.
Yes.
If there were to be another explosion, I'm just guessing that Lagos will suddenly, its eye will turn. It will become red.
Yes.
And now it will say, but you see, it's taking us to catastrophes for government to get, serious. Let us use the word.
Okay.
We're talking about hazards here.
I will not totally agree that we are not serious.
No, I didn't say that. I didn't say that.
Let me
But you see what I'm driving at? Because especially against the backdrop of, Funto's explanation that, look, we don't want to bother people more than necessary.
Not really.
not
really.
That's not where it's not the issue of not bothering them, really.
That's not really where I'm going. What I'm saying is we have passed the stage of trying to advocate and advocate now.
Okay.
Yes. The road plan, we had a road plan when Safety Commission was set on board by the government. We have to make people aware that there is a commission looking after the safety of lives and property in Lagos State, and these are the requirements. Safety is everybody's business.
It is.
It's not only government's business.
It is.
It's my business. It's your business. So we need to make people understand that. And by now, we feel we have gotten to that level that people have understood the fact that safety, imbibing safety, is my business, it's your business. It's not only that of government. So our regulations, because when you have to sanction people, you really have to put something down. These and these are these that you have violated.
Yes.
That I am going to use this to sanction you. So our regulations are coming on. We can't just come out.
It's a work in progress.
Yes.
Look, I tell you what, I've got to take a quick break, but don't go anywhere, please. We'll be right back and continue with this conversation. Of course, as always, we'll include your calls. Stay with us. Okay, welcome back, and I have with me Adeyinka Adebiyi, Director, Safety and Training. I said it wrong again. Director, Safety, Training and Education. And Funto Aino, who is the Chief Scientific Officer and Head of Food and Safety. Now, I interrupted you before we went away. You were saying something about gas, safety and gas in the home. I understand that, but I'm much more concerned perhaps with the suppliers, because there's a lot of gas there. And so if anything were to happen, and I'm talking in particular about these little retailers, there will be so much gas within just one little shop. It would be like a bomb explode. So we were exploring the whole matter about Lagos State government, and through you, allows this kind of setting up of shop. But you were just explaining that, look, one has to be careful with this. Whereas at the same time, if I got you correctly, you want people to be safe. You don't want people to feel unnecessarily hassled.
Yeah.
Is that fairly accurate?
Yeah, because it's a micro business. And
this is being encouraged at the moment.
Well, it's being encouraged, but they can do it safely.
Well, since we haven't heard about any particular unpleasant incident in these little micro businesses, as you call them, are we then assuming that they're doing everything right?
Not really.
Are you guys sure about that?
Not really.
Do you guys inspect hazardous businesses that are also very much in the home?
You see, the retailers, that put gas in the shops, cylinders, is not really encouraged.
But it isn't illegal. It isn't illegal, right?
Because there are no regulations as to how to operate that.
Okay.
So for now, but like I said, our regulations will be shown out, very soon, and that is when we will know whether they are illegal. But as it is now, we will ensure that they do their business in a safe manner. For instance, look at the plants. I was talking about the plants.
Going back to the plants, which are the proper gas businesses that supply all these other retailers.
Yes, if you look at these plants, where they go and procure all of this, the tank contains so much gas, and they always put cooling water on top to cool the tank.
Because the tanks are they're outside there in the elements.
Yes, because they are exposed to the environment. Yeah. So, and therefore, because three things will happen before the fact continue: heat, fuel, and what is
oxygen.
it? And oxygen. So a lot of these are present in that environment, and therefore, if there is a spark, for instance, and there's a gas leakage, there's a possibility of fire hazard.
So it's a technical business, staying safe.
Definitely.
You've got to know what you've just said.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely. So what I would, what we are doing as Safety Commission is to ensure that we conduct what we call, risk assessment of all these, plants, safety risk assessment, to ensure that, do you have this in place? Do you have this in place? If you don't have this in place...
Is that what you're going to do, or is that what you are already doing?
For the plant, yes, for the plants, yes, we do. For the plant, for the plants. Because the plants...
Take Mobile, for example, Mobile on Agidingbi, in front of, I think it is Cadbury, in Lagos, southwest of the country here. That Mobile, I was surprised to... we guys don't usually look around for gas, but I found out
that is skid station. That is a skid tank. But a skid tank.
That's a proper one, right?
It's not also proper because
it looks all mighty and professional and.
It's unfortunate that this doesn't happen here. This is a typical station where we should have gas being sold out, but unfortunately something went wrong.
And as you said, you're still investigating that.
Of course,
with an eye to preventing reoccurrence.
You see, investigating now is not to bring anybody to book, but to find out the root cause of that.
So that it doesn't happen again.
We're not shifting blame.
So whether it was carelessness, you'll be investigating that.
Of course.
Whether it was inadequate safety procedures, you'll be investigating that.
Yeah.
You are keeping an open mind. You don't know yet what exactly happened.
But definitely, there was a gas leakage.
I see.
So what could have caused that gas leakage? A lot of things could have caused it. Number one, perhaps the pipe that has the gas, is corroded, or the valve is leaking. And that is why it is important to have risk assessment from time to time, to find out what are the risks involved.
Hey, but you are the people now. You are the people to do this from time to time now. No? Or who?
Agreed.
Agreed.
We'll do that. This place was, there was a safety risk that was carried out here.
It was carried out
here at this place.
Recently?
Not recently.
Not recently, though.
Not recently.
And again, every, gas plant must have an in-house safety professional.
Oh,
it's
on
very
staff?
Yes, staff, yes.
Okay.
And this person will see to, in-house risk assessment of that plant.
I'm probably busy inspecting it.
Yes.
If he's a full-time employee,
yeah,
as you are saying,
must be.
the law requires.
It must be.
Then this guy will be very helpful to safety agencies because
yes, because if I can comment.
Sure, please.
Safety Commission, yes, it is our duty, but between you and me, we cannot cover every nook and cranny of Lagos State.
But you can certainly cover business categories like hazardous, you know.
Sorry, that is why even in international world, they are encouraging self-regulation.
Yes.
And that is where we are tending to.
We all have a stake in our own safety.
Yes.
You're right.
That's why we are tending to. The issue of having a safety personnel being employed by the business owner
is
very,
part of it.
Yes, it's very crucial.
Okay, one moment. I just want to bring in a caller, and if need be, we'll come back to you to continue or finish what you wanted to say. Good morning, Mr. George. Thank you for calling in.
Good morning, Uncle Yori.
Good morning, sir.
And good morning to the guests.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Uncle Yori, I could see that your guests are battling to answer your very simple questions. It's understandable. I didn't know before now that Lagos State government even has a safety commission. They must admit that they have not been up and doing. And from now on, they have to promise us we need to see them in action. You asked about small retailers of gas that are all over the places. You know, if care is not taken, if safety measures are not taken, those ones are more likely to be hazardous, more hazardous than the one in the factory because they are very close to people. Some of them are inside houses where people are living, that it could easily explode and casualties will take place. So they need to come up with ideas on how we can ensure safety in these places. They also need to address these petrol stations because the petrol stations also, they have so many inflammable products. Yeah. And you see the way they are located very close to residential areas. Is it allowed? It's not safe. You see some people cooking under high tension cables.
Yeah.
And they are probably not even told that this is dangerous. So I'm just saying these things for the officials in front of you to know what to put into their proposed regulations that they are planning to use.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for calling in, Mr. George. And following, as he was saying, please hold what you wanted to continue with. But as he was speaking, I just recalled that I actually know, not that I'm going to go into it here, but I actually know of petrol stations in the vicinity where immediately across the street, there's someone frying dodo and akara and doing all that way across the street. I'm not saying right next to it, but across the street. I would have thought some safety organization would have said it's not allowed. But if this person is frying akara and doing all of that, it begins to tell you that the petrol station and the potential danger that I'm describing are within residential. There's actually a house here that is the neighbor where people are living, ditto the other side, this way, that way. I just hope it is not an accident waiting to happen. How people get planning permission to put up a petrol station in a residential area, well, you guys will know better than me. It's part of it.
Yes, it is. It's an issue that we are actually dealing with. Let me, for instance, I was just talking about...
Sorry, sir. Let me just, Mr. Layinka in Alagbado, Lagos, wants to join the conversation. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Thank you for calling in. Go ahead, please.
Good morning, Chibiori.
Just Yori. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Yeah. Please go ahead.
This safety commission of a thing is a very important issue you brought up this morning. Not only on gas issue this time around, but I will want you to even look, I want the commission to look into all those companies, phone company, chemical companies in the residential areas. It's happening in Lagos State. I think I will disagree with Madam that they cannot cover everywhere in Lagos. But Lagos State collected their revenue every nooks and crannies of Lagos.
They can cover that. No. They can cover it no matter how wide. For the revenue, they will cover that.
To cover the whole Lagos. Maybe they will have to partner with the revenue collecting agent. This is very, very important. Very, very important.
All right, then. Thank you very much for calling in.
Let me just chip in.
Sure.
It's a good thing. We are trying our best possible to ensure that we get to every part of Lagos. And we are trying this to, for instance, we just established a zonal office in Epe axis. We want to have 5 zonal offices in Lagos now, covering the Bile divisions.
Okay.
Epe, Badagry, Lagos Island,
and
Ikeja. 5 divisions. So these zonal offices, you can, take your reports to that. If as a whistleblower, it is easier. It is at your, domain. You can go and report. And those at these, zonal offices will be covering their zones, their divisions. So, and that is how we'll be able to get, to the nooks and crannies of Lagos. So we have 2 already in place now. So, zone office, one in Epe, another one will be established in the Badagry now. So we're going to have 5, and these 5 will take, charge of their zones.
Okay.
So if there is any infraction, they will report there.
Okay.
Then we can always take it from
wanted
there.
to add something.
Yes, I wanted to say something, react to the last caller.
Okay.
Yes, what I meant by we cannot cover.
Now. So zone office, one in Epe, another one will be established in the Badagry now. So we're going to have 5, and these 5 will take, charge of their zones.
Okay.
So if there is any infraction, they will report there.
Okay.
Then we can always take it from
wanted
there.
to add something.
Yes, I wanted to say something, react to the last caller.
Okay.
Yes, what I meant by we cannot cover is what Mr. Debi has just explained.
Okay.
The offices we have, we are still coming on with the other offices for the zones.
Having been established only as recently as 2011. It's not as if it's a 70-year-old organization or anything like that.
At all.
Okay.
That is what I meant. It's not as if I said we can't cover Lagos.
Okay. Mayomi in Apapa, good morning.
Good morning, Uncle Yori.
Good morning, sir. Go ahead, please.
I'm not here to condemn anybody, but I've visited most of these gas stations in Lagos here. You see, there are some safety measures that's going to put in place. Something like what we call emergency exit. When you visit all those places, in case there's fire, there's no way they can escape an emergency. I've visited a place where this Lagos State fire, it's not there, which you can call on time. So we see most of the entrance of that place. It's not spacious enough that can even contain evacuation. These are most of the people that are giving them certification. They are supposed to be audited. These are improvements.
Okay.
This system. I want them to note emergency evacuation and emergency exit.
Sure.
In case there is fire, there must be an emergency exit.
Yeah.
At least 2 places. You are not there. That should be put on note. Thank God so much.
Thank you for calling in. There are those exits in some establishments. I don't know if they are in all. That probably will be your business to check out and know whether. But I wonder if you wanted to go into the matter we have where everybody knows it's wrong. Everybody knows you can't have a petrol station in a residential area. But then again, everybody knows you can't have a church in a residential area. But we still do those things. I don't know. That's why I said how serious we really are about safety. If petrol stations are still coming up, I'm not talking about things that were at a time when an area was undeveloped and then somehow development caught up with it and the petrol station finds itself within a residential. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about fully built up residential areas and then they break earth and you wonder what they're going to build and you see in a couple of months that It's a petrol station. For the moment, everybody's enjoying that. Oh, I don't need to get to the expressway to buy fuel. It's just next door to me, I can buy my fuel. I don't know how safe it is, these kind of things. But probably you're going to say that's beyond your province.
No.
Oh, it isn't? Oh, good,
It is, like you said, there are some petrol stations that are there already, and development came, and met them there. But you see, we still have to look at our regulators too. Who gives, approval to, to build, to construct a petrol station within the living arena?
It's you people now. It's you, Gogo.
We talk about.
I mean, I can see in your signal, Lagos State Government.
This petrol, what do you call them? The DPR.
Yes.
DPR gives, approval to construct, have a petrol station in, and also
they give permission to have a petrol station, but they don't say in a residential area. Yeah. That's up to the host or host community to say, yeah, you have your license, but you can't build here.
Before they give, they go there.
I see.
They look at it.
Okay.
Is it because that is the issue? Because this starts somewhere.
They inspect the site.
This starts somewhere. Is it because ours is to is proactive? If we are aware, and that's what we are collaborating with other agencies and ministries of government now, that now you want to establish, you want to build up, you want to construct a petrol station, you want to construct a building. Yeah. Let us look at the plan. Let's look at the plan.
But that doesn't happen, is what you're saying.
No, we are planning. That's what's going to happen now.
Well, okay, yes. Future tense. Because it's going to happen.
Because we have to. See, this environment, you can look at it. It's not good to have a petrol station. This environment, this place is not good to have a petrol station or a gas plant.
But then the government stands by and watches it come up for the reasons that you've explained. They actually have DPR, for example, approval, but for some reason the host community is not saying, without prejudice to your approval, I'm not going to let you put the life of my citizens into danger. So I'm sorry. I'm not denying your license, but you can't build in Mawamiwale Street. Yes. It is fully built up. Okay. That doesn't go on. Hassan in Lekki, good morning, sir.
Good morning, Mr. Yori. You are going to pay me. You are going to pay for my recharge card.
You are a shareholder now.
This is a very serious issue, the issue of safety, because it has to do with the lives and the properties of the people. The blame goes to the two people, or to the two agencies, or two parties, the government and the people. I've seen instances where filling stations were built between the clusters of residential areas. Not one, not two, not three. And even the safety agencies, they have a lot to do. This issue of stick and carrot, it's a misplaced priority as far as I'm concerned. Because whatsoever has to do with the lives of people should not be a stick and carrot approach of a thing. That's number one. Number two, we are busy blaming safety authorities. What is the job? What is the functions? What are the functions of planning authorities, physical planning authorities? Physical planning gave authorization for the erection of gas stations, for the erection of filling stations. And let me come back also to safety agencies. Look, the buildings all over, most of the buildings are just a disaster waiting to happen. Nobody's monitoring them. People build anyhow. People build without approval. And we knew every day we are still complaining about buildings that are collapsing left, right, and the center. What are we doing about it? What are you doing about it? If you don't have enough personnel to monitor it for you, write to the government to employ more people to do it, and there should be what they call proper monitoring. Corruption is the problem here.
Okay.
People build before seeking approval.
Okay. All right. Okay, thank you very much, Hassan. Really appreciate calling in. Well, first of all, at this stage, would you people like to say anything? Because part of the problem, look, another question. You've explained to us how this commission really was established in 2011, and that's really very recently. So I imagine a lot of work has been going on. The worry now is that since 2011, for some reason, I can assure you that filling stations have been built in residential areas between 2011 and now. That much I know. How is it an indiscreet question to ask? You had talked about not being able to cover everywhere. Is it indiscreet to ask what's the strength of the commission? I mean, are we talking about 10,000 man strong commission? I don't know.
Well, it's the
5,000 man commission.
You're talking about there's technology.
Safety professionals. I'm talking about safety
professionals.
There's technology. Even
technology has taken the place of.
No. I'm saying is even if you are in Lekki or you are at home, you can even walk. It's not even the issue of the demand, the capacity, demand capacity. Like I said, we now having at least 2 for now, zonal centers.
Oh, okay, zonal centers.
And we're going to have more this year.
Okay.
So that all these zonal centers will take care of all their domains. That is very important. So all of these is in pipeline, and we have 2 already. I'm going to have the other 3 this year. So it's actually, we're going to have that. So we will bring safety to the grassroots.
Okay.
And if you have a complaint, you don't need to come to our head office here in the Lausa. You go to the zonal office, make your reports there.
The complaint that you speak about is because, as you said, everybody should be invested in safety.
That is
so
it. You and I are stakeholders in safety.
Okay, but you guys are the authority. So whereas they can argue with me, if I just do what you have said, they shouldn't be able to argue with you, not with those intimidating badges that you guys are holding. So they just know that an official is in front of them. Mr. Benson in Delta State, good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Please go ahead.
Okay, please, I'm calling in respect to this gas explosion in Lagos recently.
We are talking about safety generally as a result of that. Safety.
Yeah, Benson is my name.
Welcome.
Yes.
Go ahead, please.
Yes, the problem here is we are very good at reactive actions instead of preventive actions. We are not proactive in any way because, yes, if you look at the incident scene, you will discover that there is no exit point for the workers to leave that site. And more so, the way we check, or rather we start our gas stations all over living areas, not only in Lagos, or over the country.
Yeah.
So it's worrisome. So we need to do something right now to avoid further occurrence of this incident. So thank you, and that's just my contribution.
Indeed. Thank you for the contribution. We have to make the point that we have been told that investigations are ongoing, so we can't really comment on what happened in relation to that particular accident, so they'll let us know. But what you have said, as I've also said earlier, there are numerous businesses that indeed comply with that matter of an exit, safety exit, but numerous is not enough. If almost all are not complying, because I don't know what the figure is before it attracts your attention, I imagine where you can have 10, 15, 20 members of the public gathering at any point in time, you probably want to know that everything is safe there, not to mention 500, that kind of a thing.
Yes.
Okay, Mr. Mazi Okoroafo in Arochukwu. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Sayori. Good morning, our guests in this studio.
Okay.
Sir, Sayori, you see, my worry in our country is too numerous, very, very. Why must government safety organizations allow explosive industries to be sited inside residential buildings? Very, very dangerous. Now, let's say, for example, that Lagos car factory, like what the newspapers have been saying, or what people have said, that the industry have been there in the push before people started building houses. Now you ask yourself, why must some planning authorities or departments approve those houses to come, knowing fully well there's an existing industry? You see, everybody wants to be a landlord, a caretaker. There's nothing wrong about it. But we are in a country where we chase symptoms instead of chasing the causes. Government should map out areas and say, this is industrial areas, just big signboard. Anything going to be cited there are purely maybe things like this. Now, what people have been saying, you know, it is very wrong. All this filling station we see inside the data building. And because that's what they call a combustion. When you sell all this, all those air that comes out, people inherit them, and it's dangerous to their head. But we don't know. The statistics have shown, or we can take it, or the report have said, people that work in an industry, their lifespan is very, very short compared with people who work in the medicine. Go and check. This is a statistic that I'm sure. Now, why was government allow this? Now, we have people that read environmental engineering in our universities across the country, and they are still moving about unemployed. Can't all these our industries bring them inside to work in there? Because 99 manufacturers don't want to spend their money. They want to maximize at all costs. Leaving all this. Now, when you go to all these industries, you see that same at the doors at the.
Okay then. Well, thank you very much for calling in. Again, Mazi Okorov are complaining. Take the UK, for example. Everybody knows about the corner store, the corner shop. Our gas dispensers, retailers, have become like that. You have those corner shops right, you know, in residential areas. You know, they're not allowed to be like the giant ones. So there are regulations as to what you can do. Yes. Now, people have taken that what is allowed. They've taken gas as a commodity. Hazardous chemicals, if you wanted to, battery chargers can buy sulfuric acid wherever they want. You know, all of these things. We know that Lagos State government is very progressive and all of that, but it also is, you know, confusing to people because one sees how modern it is, how progressive it is, you know, and at the same time sees what is allowed. That you would think, if you want to try that anywhere, you can't try it in Lagos, but not really so. There are petrol stations that are going to come up in residential areas if the trend is continued tomorrow and day after tomorrow. It's going to happen.
Like I said,
okay, let me quickly take this in Magodo. Okay. Give you a few more minutes to gather through. Bisi Magodo, good morning, sir. Or is it ma'am?
Good morning.
Good morning, ma'am.
Yes, good morning. My comment about this is that we need to be looking at this thing from the middle point and not from the top. We're reacting to something that has happened, forgetting that the potential for it to have happened has been there for a long time. Now, I speak from the point of view of the fact that this
our gas dispensers, retailers, have become like that. You have those corner shops right, you know, in residential areas. You know, they're not allowed to be like the giant ones. So there are regulations as to what you can do. Yes. Now, people have taken that what is allowed. They've taken gas as a commodity. Hazardous chemicals, if you wanted to, battery chargers can buy sulfuric acid wherever they want. You know, all of these things. We know that Lagos State government is very progressive and all of that, but it also is, you know, confusing to people because one sees how modern it is, how progressive it is, you know, and at the same time sees what is allowed. That you would think, if you want to try that anywhere, you can't try it in Lagos, but not really so. There are petrol stations that are going to come up in residential areas if the trend is continued tomorrow and day after tomorrow. It's going to happen.
Like I said,
okay, let me quickly take this in Magodo. Okay. Give you a few more minutes to gather through. Bisi Magodo, good morning, sir. Or is it ma'am?
Good morning.
Good morning, ma'am.
Yes, good morning. My comment about this is that we need to be looking at this thing from the middle point and not from the top. We're reacting to something that has happened, forgetting that the potential for it to have happened has been there for a long time. Now, I speak from the point of view of the fact that this that is located in an area which ordinarily think should have any form of development, less of an industrial premises with the gas plant.
We can't hear you. We can't hear you. We don't know whether it's the network or something.
Okay, I'm speaking from the view that I don't see any development happened in...
It's not your fault. The network is making your speech sort of intermittent. It's cutting in and out.
All right.
It's not your fault. Could you...
I'm saying that it doesn't... The location where this particular gas plant is shouldn't... Oh, God. Can you hear me now?
We can hear you, but are you saying... Try again, one more time. Try, please.
What I'm saying is that we're looking at this problem from the middle and not from the bottom where it should be looked at from.
Sure.
There should not be any development in that place in the very first place. And because there should not be any development, one should look at the agencies that authorize such development.
Exactly.
Now, what happens in Lagos State is that professionals who are not architects, who are not involved in design, are the ones that approve such establishments, any sort of establishments you may care to consider in places like this. And not being the professionals, engineers, for example, also vet and certify engineering drawings. Architects should vet and certify architectural drawings. You should have people who are professionals to certify establishments such as this. They should not be in residential areas in any case.
Exactly.
And this particular area is not an industrial area. And that should have been looked at from the very word go.
Okay.
People who apply that rule can tell you that it's a disaster that was waiting to happen. Okay. And we're even lucky that we didn't have more casualties.
Indeed.
I think the government should look at itself and look at what it actually does and not put all the blame on the Safety Commission, which is hampered anyway by the fact it's also a government agency. You should have more private people involved in planning and authorizing our layouts in Lagos. So we have more contemporary solutions to problems like this. Thank you.
Thank you very much for calling in. Although that part about wrong people giving approval, I mean, I don't know. Lagos is the center of excellence. I mean, there's no shortage of experts and professionals, but I don't know if you have good reason for saying what you said. But you know, I just thought I should mention that without prejudice to your comment that this is what you think, it is the same center of excellence. Let me say this. So what she was implying was that, you know, there's a lot of ignorance involved here, and that's where I have
incompetence.
Incompetence, which you disagree with.
Yes.
Okay, because you know.
Again, like I said, there's a provision.
Okay, let me take Babatunde in the UK. Okay. Good morning, Mr. Babatunde. Well, not Mr. Babatunde. Good morning, Babatunde.
Good morning.
Thank you very much for calling in. I'm assuming Babatunde is your first name.
Yes.
Okay, please go ahead.
All right, thank you. What is known as safety? Yeah, I mean, what is known as safety in Nigeria is totally different. When you have people in building here, there should be, you know, a safety officer must be there permanently. Then we have an office there, you know, monitoring the safety aspect of the building and the people, you know, going up and down there.
Well, that's if you've been with us, that has been explained that indeed that regulation is on ground.
Training is very, very important.
Okay, thank you very much for calling in. Okay, well, he's in the UK, and you know, I was watching out when he was, you know, explaining about what is known as safety in Nigeria. So don't knock us, don't knock us, but I don't know.
There's a provision in our law,
yes,
that you know, gives room for collaboration, and we are doing that sufficiently. We have had meetings with the Minister of Physical Planning, with LASPA and other agents.
Should stop granting petrol station approval in residential areas. Are those the meetings you are having with physical planning?
No, not that.
Not that one.
The meeting we are having with them is that whenever there is going to be, you know, an approval for any construction, we should synergize. We should look at it. We should look at it. Even from the plan, we look at, okay, this is not safe, this is not safe, this is not safe. So from the plan, that we will do it together.
But for now, that is not the situation. So we hope to get to that place.
We are getting there.
We are getting there. James in Shagam, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Okay. Good morning. Go ahead.
I don't really know what you are talking about this morning.
James. James, and you got on the air. Bye-bye, James. So, well, you know, this is Lagos. It takes all sorts. And this is why we're unhappy that that all sorts, including you could sell acid, sulfuric acid, for example, in the neighborhood. You could, you know, gas, you know, there are gas plants in places you would expect gas plants to be. But then there are a lot more. The retailers, micro retailers, have become ubiquitous. And
cottage ones.
Thank you. The good thing is that you seem to be well aware of it. And, well, even though you're using future tense, when we would have wanted to hear past tense, that this is what has been in place and this is what has been. So, but we'll get there, I imagine. Yeah. We'll get there. Now, for a moment, because you are also the head of food safety, I want to look at that other aspect of food safety, of our safety, Funto. What exactly does food safety mean to the Lagos State Safety Commission?
Thank you. Food safety means to the government.
Yes.
People in Lagos, citizens of Lagos, have food that is safe to be consumed, food that is safe to be bought, and then preparation and manufacture of food safely.
So there are aspects of that that resemble what NAFDAC is also concerned with?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Let me give, for example, the nation, we're tending towards not really buying our food in the open markets anymore. We all walk into shopping malls to pick up whatever, even to the extent of grounded pepper.
Yeah,
is being sold.
That's right. Things are really changing. Gari, elubo, everything, palm oil are now sold in supermarkets.
In supermarkets.
I'm sorry, because I want to include Anthony, who is calling in from the Netherlands. And I still missed Anthony from the Netherlands. Okay. Let me, forgive me for jumping in. Yeah. This cooking, what is it, condiment that, I don't want to mention any brand name, I think sodium something.
Monosodium glutamate. Monosodium.
That the monosodium glutamate.
MSG.
Yes, you know what I'm talking about. Some people demonstrate that, look, you think it's for cooking soup. You can whiten your whites. People are using that. Now, you know about that. I've just always wondered if these are safe and if they can be sold in Lagos. Well, I mean, they are being sold in Lagos, but are they safe?
Well, I cannot completely give a categorical statement and say that it is not completely safe.
Okay.
I can't say that.
Because that will cause problems.
Yes.
People have imported so much, they have approval and all of that.
But I believe we have agencies of government, especially at the federal level.
Anyway. Please continue.
At the federal level, that is in charge of ensuring that we have food materials that are safe around us.
Okay. Because gari can be poisonous.
Yes, it can
depending on how it is. You know, cyanide is involved and all of that.
Of course.
So these are kind of things. We hear about them. You are the experts, but those are the kind of things that concern you. Yeah. You know, we've run out of time, and I don't know where all the time went. I want at least another 1 or 2 hours with you guys.
If you can just allow me to chip in. Because
maybe 15 seconds,
only. Well, you see, the use of gas at home is also very vital.
Yes.
You don't put your gas in a bottle in the kitchen.
Yes.
Cylinder should be outside the kitchen. And of course, you want to put it on, you have to go and you put on at the back, so it's not
be very safe. And also, I've heard from experts like you, what's your hose? What's your hose? If there are any cracks in it, it could be...
At least every 2 years or 1 year, you change your hose.
Okay, I've run out of time completely, but I got to thank you, Mr. Adeyinka Adebi, Director of Safety Training and Education, Lagos State Safety Commission, and Mrs. Funto Aino. Mrs. Aino is Head of Food Safety and Chief Scientific Officer. thank you for coming on the program.
It's a pleasure.
We hope it will go from strength to strength, and we'll become safer, which is what Lagos wants in any case. Thank you guys for coming on. Okay, so that's our program. Please join us tomorrow for a fresh edition. Joan Zusen will be in the seat. I'm Yori Folari. I'll see you on Friday, God willing. Bye-bye for now.